We have some, I guess, junior high age,
Yes.
upper elementary school,
Yes.
junior high, and then over here we even have our 17-year-old high school,
high
Gunner.
school getting ready to college.
And
yes.
it's amazing to me that even at this age, if you're not showing major delays, if you're showing those subtle delays that so many millions of kids are, that even now you can reverse it.
Absolutely.
How does that work?
Absolutely. Some of our kids who have, and they know who they are, when they're like, you know what, I'm with the teacher for the first part of the class, and then, golly, I get easily distracted. And I needed to know that for the test, where they're having a little bit of trouble focusing their attention for whatever reason, or they just know that it's new information, it's getting harder and harder and harder, and it's not easy, they can't just coast anymore.
Or you mentioned they may even not be able to type on the keyboard for a long period of time, or take notes for a long time.
And by the time you get to high school and college, it matters whether you can write a couple sentences or quite a few paragraphs, whether you capture all the information you need to know in a lecture.
So you were telling me that if your child, your high schooler, is starting to get tired while studying, stick them on their stomach.
Absolutely.
And they're going to absorb that information better.
Absolutely. If you think about it, when you are sitting up in a chair, all right, you've got all this distraction around you, and you've got to tune it out, filter it out, and tune in the book you're supposed to be studying. Okay? If you're down on your tummy, again, why some babies don't like to be on their tummy, you're tuning all that exciting distraction out, and you're tuning in on one thing. Okay? The only thing that's exciting here to Gunner is either his computer or the carpet. He's probably going to focus a little bit more readily on his computer, right?
Right.
And again, a lot of my high school, college guys will say, okay, Amy, really? The floor is not super comfortable? I'll be the first to say I totally agree, and I do tummy time on the bed because it's much more comfortable, and kids may prefer that too. So don't think it's about the position. You don't have to be on the floor, like especially hardwood floors or tile floors. You want to be on a comfortable surface and focusing that way. One of the guys that used to do some work with me when he was in high school, he went on to college, and by the time he was in his second semester as a freshman in college, he called me and he's like, oh my goodness, I'm really worried. I'm going to fail this class. My parents are going to kill me because they paid for this semester, and I don't know what to do. I'm stressed and I'm freaking out just a little bit. I don't know how to turn this around. And I asked him, I said, how much time are you spending studying on your tummy? And he's like, really? And I'm like, really? And he started looking at how he was studying, and he was sitting in a chair with a lot of the dorm guys around, and he was completely distracted.
Right.
He took himself out of that, put himself on his bed to study with quiet music in the background, instrumental, no words, quiet music in the background, and then he went to his study group right after that. He ended up making A's and B's on all his finals. He did just fine, and he called me. He's like, all right, I'm a believer more than I was in high school. You know, and so one thing that we've talked about tonight with the difference between tummy time as a child and tummy time when you start looking at athletes or moving up to that high school, college area is what we call it.
Prone on elbows.
That's right. We call it tummy time because it's so much more parent friendly, baby friendly, and it totally describes the position. But when you're actually talking about the technical, what are we talking about? This position is actually called prone on elbows. Prone meaning on your tummy, and on elbows meaning the position. And when I look at college athletes, what we're training is we're training some of these fine muscles in the back, right here between the shoulder blades and up into the neck. We're training them to do their job. So when you're talking about a college athlete who is pitching for baseball, how many rotator cuff repairs do we see a year?
Wow.
Way, way, way too many.
Right.
One of the first things in rehab I would do with those guys is put them on their tummies to strengthen all the muscles that support that throwing arm. Right?
Right.
Football players, same thing. How many rotator cuff repairs do we see? How many back injuries do we see? All of that kind of stuff. You want these fine muscles along the spine that support the spine, the head, and the neck to be really on fire and in tune, as well as the core muscles that are a little bit bigger around them to be kicking in to where it's just that major support around your most precious vital assets of that spine and brain. And so it all kind of begins to really matter, whether you're talking about it mattering on a professional athlete level, just a fun recreational Y type of just go leisure activity athletic level, or whether you're talking about learning academic information and doing it well.
Well, I'm a believer now too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us and for
welcome.
going over all of these different age groups. The
Absolutely.
biggest message we have is tummy time is important at every age. Once again, we want to give some resources for parents. Of course, parents as teachers,